All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Eat, Play, Chug podcast. I'm joined again by my co-host Vince. What up, Vince?
How's it going? Loaded with coffee, ready to talk football. Had a great week last week, watching the wild card, fantastic games. These four games, cannot wait for.
Yeah,
Cannot wait.
yeah, they're exciting. So this episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about the four NFL games coming up. We can take a shot at our predictions and place some bets. And we're gonna do it a little differently. We're gonna cut over to some content, and maybe comment on it as we go. So the first game I want to talk about, Vince, is the game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Green Bay Packers. Now this is in Green Bay. The spread is favoring Green Bay by 6.5, and the Rams have gained a little ground since opening as 7-point underdogs. However, the Rams, unfortunately, are 0-6 against the spread when playing the Packers in the last 6 matchups. Now, some of the key factors, Vince, I know that we're going to talk about are one major one is Jared Goff. He's going to have to play with an injured thumb, and so actually, why don't we just start off like what do you think the biggest factors in this game are?
Yeah, so excuse me. The key factors, I think one, the line is correct, and I think you hammer this line, if you will. This is the lock of the week. I would just hammer this line -6.5 Packers all day. I don't see the Rams even being competitive in this. I think the Rams lose by 10 and 14. And the reason I'm saying that is I think you have in the last game when they played against Seattle and they won that game, certainly that's an in-division battle, right? They're familiar with one another. They played one another. This is where, they're playing the Packers, as you just stated, right? They're 0-6 against the spread against the Packers. I don't believe they're playing the Packers every year, right? And this is a different Aaron Rodgers this year. So first and foremost, you have a different Aaron Rodgers who's on an MVP track, throwing just absolutely lights out. I think a 45-3 TD to INT ratio, which is just absolutely insane. And then you have Goff, right? So Goff came in I believe the second half second quarter of the last game where Wolford hurt his neck out for the rest of the game. Goff had to come in after that surgically repaired thumb was fixed. Now going to, the frozen tundra, Lambeau Field, and playing against the Packers there, it could potentially be snowing. It's going to be cold, right? This is going to be a game that's going to be very cold, I would think, at least in wind chill. So with his thumb being surgically repaired, being ready to throw, right? Let's see how he adapts, with that. I think some of the other ones are really on the defensive ends, and pertaining particularly to the Rams. But I know, Josh, you have something you want to talk about in regards to the Rams defense.
Yeah, so the Rams defense are ranked number 1 overall, and let me show you this visual here. In the regular season, they are number 1 in total defense. Can you see the screen, by the way?
Yep.
All right. They're number 1 in total defense. They're number 1 in passing defense, and they're number 1 in scoring defense. Now, the interesting thing to me in this is that they're number 1 in scoring defense at 18.5 points per game allowed in the regular season. But if you look over the past 5 outings, they've actually decreased that number to just 14.6 points allowed per game. Now, with the game being in Green Bay and the temperature is dropping below freezing, I think the forecast is nope. The forecast is going to be around 29 degrees to 30 degrees. I think this becomes a defensive matchup. Well, and if it does, you have to. I'm still up in the air on who to give the edge to, because the Rams defense is so good. However, here's another factor that I want to throw up is that Aaron Rodgers' record when the temperature drops below freezing is absurd. Is just absurd. Now, 1 second. Let me bring this up here. All right. So Aaron Rodgers stats when the temperature drops below zero, he's got a 28-6 record. And all these other stats are insane, but like what let me just read this little tidbit off. His 28-6 record only tells you part of the story, because in those 34 games where the average temperatures are around 23 degrees, he throws 76 touchdowns and only has 13 interceptions. That's an average of more than 2 touchdowns and less than 1 interception per game, while also averaging nearly 263 passing yards. But the most impressive stat, in my opinion, is that in those 28 games, the Packers outscore their opponents by an average of 15.5 points, scoring nearly 30 points per game.
I think this tallies right up to like Bane and Batman, right? I was born in the darkness, but you simply adopted it. It's basically that, right? That's where he lives. That's where he is. That's where he's played. He's had a lot of games there. He's used to the cold. You're having a team come from LA, Los Angeles, the beach, the sun, to play in 23-degree game. Okay. I mean, like, to me, this is not going to be a close game at all. I think just a couple of matchups when thinking about that, right? We talked about Aaron Rodgers lights out. I think you detailed that, Josh. He's my MVP this year. I don't think it's very close. He's just been unbelievable in year 2 with Matt LaFleur. The out of division piece where it could potentially snow, or it's going to have this cold, like you talked about, 23 degrees. You're having the team that plays, in warmer climates, right, come over. I think that's a big issue. I think, the issue with the hand that I detailed earlier. But then the one thing that I think where, if the contrarian goes, hey, here's where I think the Rams could work, right? Here's where, if you were to take the Rams, if you're saying, hey, Rams +7, this is your argument, right? Your argument is you have Jalen Ramsey on Devontae Adams, right? So Jalen Ramsey has been shutting down DK Metcalf. Obviously, Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in football today, but you have that matchup, right? You have the ability for Jalen Ramsey on an island to match up with Devontae Adams, so they're not having, say, safety coverage. You can now have shadow coverage by Jalen. So that's one plus for the Rams. And we'll see how that goes. The other piece is, David Bakhtiari, right? Best offensive tackle in football. One of the best pass blockers, best run blockers. The blind side of Aaron Rodgers, he's out for the year now, right? Torn ACL. How do the Packers fill that void, right? Do they fill that void with simply just a tackle and see if that tackle can take on what David did? Probably not a good idea. Do they stack a tight end up there? So now you have more people blocking in. But then what do you do with Aaron Donald, right? Aaron Donald's in the middle. You have to double team him. So that's the interesting play I see, right? Can they get pass rush off the edge, and can Aaron Donald push the middle up into Aaron Rodgers' face where the pass rush off the edge where David Bakhtiari is no longer blocking? Can that get home to Aaron Rodgers with Jalen Ramsey covering his number one target? So if I'm a Rams fan, or if I'm betting Rams, that's the philosophy I'm looking at. I think for the Packers to win this game, Robert Tonyan, their tight end, has to have a huge game, and they got to run the hell out of the ball with Aaron Jones and really take the pass rush away from the Rams to really just run this up the gut. I think they're going to be able to do it. Like I already said, lock of the week. I think they win by 12-14.
Yeah. And I think there's just got to be too many things that go right for LA for them to close this 6.5 point spread. I think the whole David Bakhtiari situation is what kind of closed the gap by 0.5 point, but still Aaron Rodgers, I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants people in Green Bay to put his name above, the great number 4 and Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
And I really wish I knew how to pronounce that in its native tongue. What is
yeah. It is Favre, but when he was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons, the commissioner at that time said Brett Favre.
Oh, he did. That's funny.
Just forever lasted. Yeah.
So I just think that there's too many things that have to go right for LA, and this game being at home in Green Bay, I just don't think they have a shot. I'm going to take Green Bay with the spread at -6.5.
There we go. And just the last piece, and we talked about it. quarterback is it's just so necessary. You just have to have great quarterback play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You cannot have any questions. And like we talked about, right? There's just too many questions for the Rams at quarterback. And they're even talking about Warford coming back and potentially playing. And holy hell. I mean, Rodgers versus Goff. I'm on Rodgers' side. Rodgers versus Warford. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
So I think that alone tells us. So at least I'm glad we're in agreement on the I believe it's now minus 6.5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I actually did put money on that. So I am a betting man.
All right. So it's on the books and on film. So
yeah.
Again, for our 2 viewers, we will be coming back next week to review the game and make fun of each other if we're wrong, which we probably will be. Yeah, so moving on to the next game, we've got Kansas. The next game we've got is Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cleveland Browns. Now this is going to be at the Arrowhead. That's the name of the stadium, right?
Yep.
Yeah, in Kansas City. The match spread is got Kansas City favored by 10 points. The over under is 56 and 56.5. And I think one of the key points here is a formula beat. The formula you want to have to beat great quarterbacks is to keep them off the field. And the Browns are the 3rd best running team in the NFL behind the Ravens. So if they can continue running the ball and kill that clock, you take Patrick Mahomes off the field and one of the Kansas City's biggest weapons away from them.
I think it's the same formula for like the Rams to beat the Packers. It's running the ball. For Cleveland, to beat the Chiefs, they have to dominate the time of possession. They have to run the ball. They have 2 great running backs in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. This is if you will, the Kareem Hunt revenge game, right? Him being cut. Obviously, he lied to the owner of the team after brutally beating, which none of us condone that woman on video, but lied about it. Then the video came out, which he was cut from them, but landed with the Browns. So
yeah,
this is that Kareem.
I don't know how you lie about something that's caught on film, and especially something so egregious. Now, I don't know if you're up for it, but I have the video here if you want to watch it.
Probably not.
All right.
I mean, I think people understand there was shoving, there was pushing, there was kicking, all coming from Kareem Hunt and nothing back. So we'll leave it at that. But as Josh talked about, right, the formula to beat Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, the high-powered offense, the best offense in football, you could say, right, other than probably the Packers at this time, you got to keep them off the field. You have to play defense with your offense. You have to run the ball. You have to create a larger gap in time of possession. You have to continue to get first downs. You're going to have to throw the ball at some point. So Baker is going to have to step up. I see a lot of play action going off this, but you know what I think is funny about this game, Josh, which I'm not sure a lot of people are looking at. So Andy Reid, obviously, the longtime head coach of the Eagles, now obviously the head coach of Kansas City, brought a Super Bowl back, something he could never do when he was in Philly. And obviously, if you do bring Super Bowls back, right, you get fired. Obviously, the Doug Peterson piece. So that's you probably should never go to the Eagles. I think that's very clear now. But a cool point about this playoffs, which I was just reading through, and this is via Tom Pelissero with the NFL. The Andy Reid treat is live and well in the playoffs this year. Just with the Ravens, John Harbaugh, he was a longtime Andy Reid assistant, right? He was on special teams and so forth. You have Sean McDermott, who's arguably the coach of the year with the Bills, right? 13-3. Josh Allen being a lot better, and we'll talk about that. But he was a longtime Andy Reid assistant. And then the one that pertains to this game is Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski obviously was not in the game last week. He had COVID. He was watching it in the basement. While he had his interim coach basically taking over. But Kevin Stefanski is under, the tree of Andy Reid, and he got his start as an Eagles training camp intern. And so what Stefanski believes in is play action. So I think you're going to see a ton of running, play action, boot with Baker, short passes, direct passes, move the chains. Yeah, we'll get into who we think is going to win.
Stefanski just sounds like one of those names like Steven Glansberg, and he probably sits by himself in the locker room while he's eating his lunch.
Yep, Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Another interesting narrative in this game is the history between these two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. I've got an interesting little tidbit I want to share with you. Let's do this. Now, everybody remembers this game, the biggest, what is it? Showdown? What is it like? What was the word they used the other day? When it's just a high scoring matchup against shootout. There you go. It's an awesome shootout between these two quarterbacks. Let me turn this off because it's in my head. But yeah, I mean, everyone remembers this game in 2016. There's 125 points and 1,700 total yards. These two guys have some history, and it's going to be fun to watch them go back at it with some like NFL tools at their disposal.
What's unbelievable, just looking at those stats on the right-hand side, Patrick Mahomes, 52 of 88.
Yeah.
88 throws.
88 throws. That's twice as many as a normal.
Oh my God.
NFL
I was
game.
watching a conversation with Warren Moon and Colin Cowherd yesterday. The most he's ever thrown in a game is 61. 88 is just insane. Obviously, you can do that in college football, but then the 734 is just bonkers. Where if you look at like what you have, Baker throwing 52 less throws. I mean, that is just insane. Obviously, they had Mixon, right? So you just run the ball.
Yeah.
But that's pretty crazy. I think everyone on that list right there is actually, everyone on that list is in the NFL. D.D. Westbrook with the Jaguars. Kiki Kuti is on the Texans. Joe Mixon is on the Bengals, and obviously Baker and Mahomes on the respective teams today. So
look, these throws are absolute laser beams. And look at the numbers though. 545 yards on 27 completions and seven touchdowns.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? Not to say these numbers get replicated, but it's going to be the same type of game. Right? Not to say where Baker's throwing for 7 TDs, but the 27 for 36, that's probably all you want Baker to throw because you want to run the hell of the ball. So the Oklahoma strategy is actually going to be the same one that, say the Browns should follow against the Chiefs, where the Chiefs are going to just be throwing the ball, right? They're going to be throwing the hell out of the ball, trying to beat the secondary. You just saw Ben Roethlisberger. He threw 4 INTs, but he also threw 500 yards and 4 TDs. I would take Patrick Mahomes throwing against that secondary over Ben. So it's a same kind of game, just not as many touchdowns for Baker in this one, but certainly Chubb and Kareem could go for 2 each.
No, I agree. And that's why I will be taking Kansas City on the spread as well at -10.
So I'm going against you on this one. And this is probably a dumb bet, but the reason I'm doing this, I kind of like this whole front line of Cleveland, the defensive line. I like Garrett. I like how he's getting after the quarterbacks. The secondary, like I talked about, they're going to get gassed. You're going to get Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for the 3 TDs. You just know that. You know that going in. So the one thing you need to be able to do, which they've been able to do very well, is run the football. And I think you've been waiting for this game. Kareem Hunt talked about it. He's been visualizing this game, and so forth. I think you got to run this ball probably 70, 80 times. Just run the hell out of this ball. And then you got to get play action going, right? Play action on Austin Hooper and the tight end over the field. Get Jarvis Landry off some ins and outs. There's not going to be any of these like deep posts or anything of that sort. I think you take calculated risks, but you got to be aggressive in the running game. And you have to make sure that you take advantage of the time of possession.
Sure.
So give me the Browns +10.
Interesting. Wow. So
I don't think they're going to win.
You don't think you're going to win, but you're going to bet against the Chiefs spread.
I'll put this. I wouldn't be shocked if they won. I wouldn't be shocked, but a betting man, give me the points. Right, there's 10 points, lose by 7, fine, still win. But I think just the way they're running the ball right now, they're just dominating. They're just running all over people. They ran all over the Steelers, ran all over them.
Yeah.
Kansas City's run defense isn't as good as that. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I could be.
Yeah.
Wrong.
We're going to have to slice up this bit and run ads targeted to people in Cleveland because they're desperate. They're desperate for victory.
I'm on the board. Let's go, Dog Pound.
All right. So our next matchup we want to talk about today are the Bucs versus the Saints. Now, this is there's one overpowering storyline in this we'll get to, but right now the spread favors New Orleans at -3, which basically means it's a coin flip, and the over under is 51.5. Now, no matter what happens, it's somewhat unfortunate, in my opinion, that it'll be one of the last games for one of these amazing Hall of Fame legends.
Potentially for Brady. Definitely for Breeze.
Oh, you think Brady's coming back?
He's got 20 million reasons to come back.
Oh, my God. Let's hope the Dolphins get him.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go back to the game. Yeah. So what are your key factors that you're looking at for this game, Vince?
Yeah, I think you kind of mentioned it there, right? The -3, and we'll talk about that. There's some betting, gambling strategy behind that. I think a lot of people know, right? 3 or under money line. So we'll talk about that. But Saints have won, right? The 2 within the regular season. I think a stat that Josh, we talk about, right? The amount of times the team beat another one is 3 times. It's like 17 since 1950. So it's not like very often, but we'll see. I think the biggest thing that I look at is one, Brady in the playoffs. I'm just not going to bet against him. Frankly, I'm just not.
No,
I do have some bias. He went to my alma mater. My high school is Junipero Serra High School in San Mateo. So there's some bias there.
Yeah, okay. Your opinion just is disqualified instantly.
Yeah, but we'll just put that out there. The biggest thing I think when talking about this is the last 4 games that Brady has had, right? Brady has thrown for almost like 1,300 yards, 12 TD passes, and a perfect passer rating. Or it's like 126 or 127, something like that. Like that, last 4. So he's just ready to go. He's teeing up, right? This is the first year in Bruce Arians' offense. And now it's clicking. So I think that's the big thing. There you go. There's the exact numbers.
Yeah. Look, Tom Brady's playing well. Brady and the Buccaneers ended the season with 4 straight wins. Brady has 1,333 passing yards. Damn,
that's really good.
12 passing touchdowns and 126.9 passer rating in those games. All those numbers, all career highs.
Yeah.
Oh, my voice got excited and just cracked. All career highs for that is crazy for someone like Tom Brady to be posting career highs still at the age of 41?
43.
43. Oh, God damn, I'm an idiot. All career highs for him over the last quarter of the season. Yeah, that's those are numbers that are trending in the right direction. That's a hockey stick style quarterly, chart stock increase. So my buddy Gabe, he's a huge Buccaneers fan. He loves to see it, and like I said, I'll never bet against him after watching what happened against Atlanta in the Super Bowl a few years ago. The 23-3, or was it 27-3 at one point, and he comes back and wins it. Yeah, there's no way I'm betting against him.
No. And when we look at, the line, right? So -3, Brady's playing unbelievable. It's -3 from the standpoint of New Orleans. If I'm betting this game, I'm taking the money line. If it's 3 or under, money line. 3 points, I don't really care about. Give me the money line. Give me the better odds. Let's make some more money. So sure, for the sake of spread betting, because of this, I'll take +3. But truly, I would take Bucs to outright win money line.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a close game. These 2 quarterbacks, they manage the game well. They manage the clock well. I don't think they're going to be looking at putting as much points as obviously going to try to put as many points on the board as they can, but I think they've got more of the long game kind of stretch. They don't want to tire their front line off. They want to play a balanced game on both sides. And you gotta wonder how much collagen is left in both of their knees. So, I mean, look at this. I want to share this with you as well. Combined age of 85, Tom Brady versus Drew Brees will be the oldest quarterback matchup ever. I mean, they broke their own record twice this season, but again, they're breaking another record. Yep. I thought this photo was hysterical as well. Whoever did this is just incredible. The History Channel awaits.
Oh, I mean, I think if you look at Brady's like still slinging the ball. Like he's playing better than most quarterbacks in the NFL, where Breeze, you could say, kind of getting noodle arm-ish. Like, this is it, right? He's already signed a deal to go be a broadcaster after this season, or whenever he's ready to retire.
Didn't know that.
After this season. He's looking a little not be able to throw the deep ball as much, where Brady's like, shit, he looks like he's 32, still slinging it at 43. So I'm excited for this game, just for the standpoint of it's two legends. It's not this, but it reminds me of that Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. fight we got in a way. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big Brady fan. I like Breeze too. Breeze, these have been two legends to watch, and I think it's a great platform for us to watch, the final game of one of these.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, I think it pertains to Breeze, not Brady. I think Brady comes back, but this is gonna be a great game. Let's go Bucs.
Yeah. By the way, do you think that Brady kind of looks like Brett Favre here with a beard? Or is that just me?
It more looks like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus.
All right.
Is it a little weight to you?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna take the spread because I think it's gonna be a close game.
Boom.
All right. So the final game we want to talk about today on the podcast is the highlight of the weekend on prime time at 8:00 in Buffalo. The Ravens will be playing the Bills. Now the spread here favors the Bills at -2.5, which is an even, a closer toss up than the Bucks Saints game. But some of the key factors here are it's going to be in the dire cold. It might snow, and it's going to be, I think, forced to be a running game. I know the Ravens love to blitz, but Josh Allen is super good against the blitz. I don't know, Vince. What do you think? What do you think about this game?
This is my favorite game of the week. This is the game I've been waiting for. I love what the Bills are doing. Josh Allen, Josh Allen prior to this season, I think his, I don't think I know his completion percentage was 58%. This year it's 68. He went to Tom House and restructured his throwing motion, his footwork, and so forth. And now he's become a more accurate passer. He can also throw the deep ball and run. And he's the total package, which Josh Allen, absolute steal for the Bills to get. And obviously it's paying off. Sean McDermott, as I talked about earlier, arguably coach of the year for the Bills, bringing them to the 13-3 record, part of the Andy Reid, coaching tree. But this is one where you're going to get a ton of running. There's just going to be running on both sides. You have Zach Moss, who's out for the Bills, so you'll have more Josh Allen running. I think Josh Allen's going to have a huge game to win this. And hopefully Devin Singletary can actually run the ball on the ground. But I think you're going to have, Diggs, John Brown, Beasley, with Josh Allen. This is Josh Allen's finest moment, right? This is where he could really show, hey, I've made it. I'm, against a great defense, against the number one blitzing team, like you talked about, Josh, and how Josh Allen is so great against the blitz. This is the game where he could really, tell the naysayers or show everyone or come out in the national spotlight and say, hey, I'm here and I'm here to stay. On the other side, someone like Lamar Jackson, who just won his first playoff game, he was 0-3, who was 0-2 previously and just won this last one. They're rolling too, right? And they can run the hell out of the ball with Dobbins. Ingram and Edwards, and then obviously Lamar Jackson, who had, I believe, over 150 plus yards on the ground
Mhm.
from the quarterback position. So when you're giving up, when it's the Bills, and this is in the season, I believe they were like 17th or 18th, giving that amount. If they've shored that up, then I like the Bills here. But the issue is, man, that dynamic running of having Lamar Jackson, that quarterback, having these other three running backs who are dynamic as well against a Bills team who's been suspect against the run. Oh man,
Yeah.
I'd be very scared if I'm the Bills facing someone of the offense potency of the Ravens.
Yeah, that's the biggest concern, right? I think Josh Allen, he's got some experience in the snow. I mean, I could show you a video of him like just slanging it and while it's coming down here. Josh Allen has experience playing in poor weather conditions. Great ball here while the snow is coming down pretty hard. Notice the timing on this throw. Allen is releasing the football just as the receiver comes off the break. So you can see it's a pretty strong throw. He's gonna have to outperform what he did last week. I guess the game against the Colts, everyone thought it was going to be a much bigger blowout, and it seems like they did just enough to win the game. I think everything has to like really line up for Josh Allen, because if it's that cold, he's going to have to run the ball himself. And if he absolutely does have the capacity to outperform and win the game. I wouldn't be surprised. However, with it being so cold and it potentially becoming a one-dimensional game, Josh Allen is their only running threat. And let me see. Wait, where are some of my notes here? Bills rank, and when it comes to running on the other side, the Bills rank 17th in allowing the run, allowing only 4.5 yards per carry. The last time the Bills faced an elite running quarterback as well, they allowed 32 points and 217 rushing yards against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. So there's a lot of question marks with regards to the Bills and not doing enough. I think they're a great team, and I think they're on the right track. I think Josh Allen is a very gifted and he's got a bright future ahead of him. However, I don't know if I'm taking them in this game, because it seems like they're going to have to do a lot more than the Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson has got his first ever postseason under his belt, and I think his confidence is sky high right now. So going in, I think the snow plays into his strength of running the ball. But I think now that he had a great win last week throwing the ball, he's got a little bit more confidence throwing the ball, and he will be able to a lot better than Eddie come in, just squeaking by with a win last week.
This game is so interesting to me. I think it's the hardest game to pick. Just of the couple of things you talked about. The issue is that you have Josh Allen who's the number one thrower against the blitz. You have the Ravens, who are the number one defense, who blitz the most. Then you have the snow impact, where Ravens run the most in the NFL from the quarterback position and the running back position. And then you have a defense of the Bills who have been gashed by the quarterback position, as you talked about with Kyler Murray, and gave up 32 points. Plus, then you have this running back piece. Then you add snow to it, right? And then you have Tre'Davious White, who's going to be shadowing Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown being on the Ravens, Tre'Davious White being the corner for the Bills, and their safeties are great. I mean, this one out of all of them is such a toss-up to me. I just have no idea. It's either going to be where the Ravens run the hell out of the ball, and they're successful in that way, or Josh Allen just pulls off the impossible in a spectacular game.
Yeah.
I want, it's so weird. I want the Bills to win. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan, but I'm going to take the Ravens in this game. I'm going to take the Ravens, the plus 2.5. But once again, what's the rule? If it's 3 or under, give me the Ravens money line, and I actually put a parlay in while you were talking. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Well, yeah. So to add another layer of complexity to Cole Beasley's back,
Yep.
the All-Pro receiver. So Josh Allen's got another weapon, to turn to if he needs to throw the ball. So that makes it easier for him when it's going to be very difficult to throw the ball for either quarterback. So I wouldn't put it past Josh Allen. Again, like, he's a great quarterback, and like you said, we're both huge fans. However, I can't go against good defense, and I can't. And I kind of hedge my bets against bad defenses. And the Bills' defense against the rush is not very good. And it's gotten better, but it's not where it needs to be against, the Ravens. So I'm going to also take the Ravens +3.
It's definitely concerning on their defense, no question. So I think the one thing, just to wrap this up, if people want to take this parlay with me and hold your breath, but just to wrap that all, so I'm going Green Bay, the -6.5. I'm taking Baltimore on the money line. I'm taking Tampa on the money line. I'm taking Cleveland +10. That's a parlay I'm putting 50 down to win 779. We'll see if we do it.
Dang. So why don't you tell them where they can go potentially put a parlay down? Or is that,
if you have a local bookie like I do, then do that. I certainly won't name names, but if you have one of those, yeah, do it. We have one that we use. I know a lot of people use either like FanDuel's or so forth, depending if you're on the East Coast. But that's one where I feel pretty good. Throw 50 on it, see what happens. Other than that, good luck this week. See who's going to win, and I'm looking forward to obviously these games as I sit on the couch after my dental surgery on Vicodin.
And again, I just want everyone to know I've got a few friends that live in Buffalo or Syracuse. I'm rooting for the Bills. I won't bet on them, but I'm rooting for the Bills, particularly because Josh Allen promised to do this. Tables, plural, and light them on fire too. Let's do it. Josh Allen vows to jump through flaming tables if the Bills win the Super Bowl.
Wow. I might have just changed my pick. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I don't blame him. Super Bowl is a crown jewel achievement of someone's life. I mean, unless you're Tom Brady, then it's 5 or 6.
Then it's an every other day.
Yeah, it's just all right, guy. Thanks so much this week. Thanks for everyone listening, and good luck on everyone's bets, and have fun watching the games. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
And we're out.